Why don't you like Harris?
Oh, she don't have any experience.
She's the vice president. She's a senator.
Yeah, no experience. No. She had no experience.
Economy is actually better under Biden.
You stupid.
No, I'm serious.
That's
what the facts show.
Okay, you know what?
Do you watch CNN?
So for you to say that I'm not smart because I'm willing to call out all of the degeneracy that exists within our current education system only points to your lack of intelligence and your lack of initiative to actually do something in regards to saving our children and saving our schools.
Did she take the job seriously? Did she do all she could to protect American citizens from an invasion? Did she do anything at all?
No.
You haven't been before.
And I haven't been to Europe.
This is Don Lemon, who got fired from CNN and is trying to figure out what to do with himself now. He drove out to Jersey, Atlantic City, and he had some interesting exchanges with some people on the street. Now, to be fair, he's also done some other videos. He's posting a bunch of these where others have said, oh, it's all Kamala, Kamala, Kamala. It's mostly like white dudes. It's weird. Like old white guys are like, Kamala, I love Kamala. It's weird, but okay. So here's this one, though. This one was a fun one from Don Lemon. A lot of interesting reactions.
We're here in Jersey, Atlantic City. Who do you support?
I plead the fifth.
Trump for the win.
Tell me why.
I can't really call that right now, but I just feel like she's not good for president. She's good vice, but not for the actual lead role for the country.
Does it have anything to do with being a woman?
No. No. Because I feel like women, nah, you're not going to give me that.
Your money's on Harris.
Yeah.
Who do you want?
Trump.
Why don't you like Harris?
Oh, she don't have any experience.
She's the vice president. She's a senator.
Yeah, no experience. No. She had no experience.
Well, I want Donald Trump. I just feel we need somebody that has a stronger background with the military and the world in general.
She was a prosecutor and an attorney general.
A terrible one.
Senator and a vice president. You're in a gambling town. Who's your money on?
I'm going to support the Democratic Party, but, man, Trump looked like he got it in the bag right now.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
Yeah. I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden.
You stupid.
No, I'm serious.
That's
what the facts show.
CNN?
Okay, you know what?
Do you watch CNN? No, not anymore. He doesn't.
No, that's not because I watch CNN. Trump or Harris?
Hilarious.
That's who's going to win.
That's who's going to win.
Who you support?
I support Trump. All the people that came to this country legally, it's not fair that they're letting all 10,000 to 15,000 people or 20,000 people here illegally. Have you seen San Diego?
Day.
They're coming off the boats, off the water right here, off the ocean. Did you know Biden was flying them in? You didn't know that?
What do you Canadians think about what's going on here?
We think you're all nuts. We're just watching from afar and just enjoying the show.
Well, you're welcome that we take care of a lot of the global problems so you can have nothing to worry about. We'll just handle it. Now, here is Martha Raddatz. She was also out saying that there's a bunch of dumb people, right? Like Don Lemon said to that guy. He's like, no, man, I'm making less money. He's like, well, that's not what the statistics say, okay? The news reports that the economy is great. What are you talking about? Stupid? Are you crazy? Do you watch CNN? Probably doesn't even realize he's Don Lemon, right? Obviously. So now they're coming out and they're saying these people are just stupid, okay? You're dumb. The fact that everything's expensive, grocery store prices are through the roof, everything is worse than it was 3.5 years ago. That's just your delusion, okay? Wake up, get your facts checked, and get on board with Kamala.
While our polls show support from black voters has swung 12 points in Harris's favor,
I'm leaning more towards Kamala.
Melody Davey has not bought in. Trump's rhetoric has clearly had an effect on her in an astonishing way.
Trump's rhetoric.
Have you decided who you want to vote for?
Honestly, no. I'm leaning towards Trump.
Let's go, Melody.
And why is that?
Keep
A
leaning.
lot of the stuff Kamala says is kind of like what Trump has said, like no taxes on tips.
Yeah.
Was something that was kind of reiterated by Trump beforehand.
And she stole it.
She's just kind of been caught up in a lot of
Just
lies.
like the nomination.
Like what?
I think lying about her heritage was one of them.
You think she lied about her heritage?
Yeah, I believe she's just Indian. I don't think she's black.
She is always identified as black.
Well, I think that's something we can definitely agree to disagree on.
And there was no convincing her otherwise.
Yeah, no convincing her because she's been a chameleon, right? She's changed multiple times. And so I think this woman she's well within her rights to say, yeah, it's kind of weird that she has all these different lived experiences all of a sudden, and then she just pulls one out of her booty when it's very convenient for her in an election campaign. So not happy about this. Trump's rhetoric has really gotten her confused. She doesn't know any better because Trump is reprogramming her brain. This woman was not buying any of it, and this was an epic clip that came over from CNN. Let's listen to this woman set this caller straight.
They're never going to let you in the club, okay? The movie Django, you are the character of Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know the exact terminology, but not Uncle Tom, but Uncle Tommy, or you were a complete sellout.
First of all, it sounded like that was a non-black person telling me that. So as a Democrat, that sounds pretty racial and pretty divisive. initiative. Next, it's very interesting that I, again, would be called names or be compared to fictional characters because of who I choose to support. Again, these people who are calling and making these derogatory statements about me, who I choose to support, are denying the fact that, again, who are you to tell me that my personal experience is invalid? I think that that's something that a lot of Democrats need to look within, because how have you tried? Kamala Harris is in office right now and has not tried to do anything about the border, has not tried to not tax people on tips, and has not tried to do anything about our failing education system. So everything that she's promising she can do for you on day one, she could do right now, but she's not trying to. So that's something to, for some Dems to take home. So are you telling me that with all the black wealth that exists here in Atlanta, with all the black millionaires that live here in Atlanta, why in the world do 92% of APS students are illiterate? Make it make sense. And we have Democratic mayors, we have Democratic city council members, we have Democratic commissioners, and for whatever reason, 92% of the kids here cannot read. That statistic did not exist in Nevada. So again, I don't know if it was the fact that I got lucky. I can't say that, oh my God, it's the teachers that suck out here. I would never demean our educators here in Atlanta. But what we can acknowledge is the numbers, sir. And so while you want to call me not smart, please tell me what your side has done to fix the illiteracy rate that we see in our black children. Absolutely nothing. And in fact, not only have they not done anything to address the illiteracy issue, but then they're further confusing your kids, telling them that men can give birth, by telling them that there's 53 genders, and that by telling them that your love for your best friend must mean that you are gay, you are a pansexual, asexual. Kids under the age of anything high school should not be thinking anything sexual, period. Amen. Sexual should not even be in their vocabulary. Amen. So for you to say that I'm not smart because I'm willing to call out all of the degeneracy that exists within our current education system only points to your lack of intelligence and your lack of initiative to actually do something in regards to saving our children and saving our schools.
Yeah! Oh man, that was amazing. So that woman's name is Michaela Montgomery. Wow. Okay, that was like multiple combos, right? He's dead. It was amazing. All good points. I mean, we have been covering Atlanta for a long time. That's Fulton County. That's Big Fannie Willis, man. And look at the degeneracy that's in that prosecutor's office, right? These are people who are supposed to be honorable and full of integrity and beyond reproach, the most law-abiding people in all of society, and they're just riddled with degeneracy. And then they're going to come back out and they'll prosecute Trump, and then they'll sell it to their base as though they're out there fighting for them and fighting for justice. And unfortunately, a bunch of people there will buy it, and not much will change, unfortunately. So the Republicans and Trump are going to be counter-programming this week. You can see this was Carolyn Levitt, who was on with the news, saying, yep, we're going to be preparing for this. I think Trump is making a swing states tour, and we're going to have a bunch of activity from him and his campaign. Here's an update.
Or lay out and get ready to attack afterwards.
Oh, we will definitely be counter-programming the disastrous Democrat National Convention this week. President Trump and Senator Vance are going to be barnstorming the country. They'll be back in Pennsylvania tomorrow. They're going to be in Michigan, in Arizona, and also in the great state of Nevada. President Trump talking about his no tax on tips proposal there that Kamala Harris has, of course, plagiarized from him. The two of them will be all over the place. It's going to be a great week for our team, and we look forward to the winning message that they're going to bring across this country. In contrast to the losing message that the Democrats have right now, they'll be celebrating the 4 years of failures that Kamala Harris has brought to this country.
Caroline, let's talk about the convergence of policy proposals, because we heard Donald Trump say no tax on tips, and then Kamala Harris said the same thing, as well as the child tax credits. J.D. Vance put this out on X. He says Kamala Harris will soon propose that we finish the border wall and make America great again. No one should be fooled by the fake campaign copying President Trump's vision. The difference is Trump actually lowered prices as president. Harris is in power now and does nothing. What's your reaction?
Kamala Harris is trying to deceive the American people, and frankly, it's insulting. The difference between Kamala Harris and President Trump is that President Trump can actually be trusted to implement these policies, because look at Kamala Harris's record. First of all, in the Senate, she represented the highest tax state in the country, liberal California. She has repeatedly supported raising taxes on the American people throughout her political career. She voted against President Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017, which, by the way, expanded the child tax credit. And since she's been vice president, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden expanded the IRS to go after hardworking Americans. In fact, under their administration, 60% of the audits conducted by the IRS have targeted middle-class households making less than $400,000 a year. Remember, they told us they wouldn't come after us if middle-class families make less than that amount? Well, they have broken that promise. Kamala Harris will break her promise to end taxes on tips. It's a policy she plagiarized from President Trump because she knows it's popular, and she's trying to moderate her persona ahead of the election, and it's insulting.
It is insulting. Plagiarism, stealing, thieving Kamala is out there doing the thing that the Democrats do. They just steal from everybody else and take it as their own. Oh, that's our patent now. Oh, that's our country now. Here is J.D. Vance. Now, he's also out making the rounds. He was out on Sunday. Here's what he said.
I mean, our Fox News polling does show the economy is the #1 issue and that people do give you all the edge on that. And yet, this is what we have out from some new polling out of the New York Times. They say Ms. Harris is now leading Mr. Trump among likely voters in Arizona 50-45 and is even edged ahead of Mr. Trump in North Carolina, a state Mr. Trump won 4 years ago, while narrowing his lead significantly in Georgia and Nevada. What is the administration doing, the campaign doing with that data as it comes in? I mean, these are critical states that you got to have a path to 270. Are there any pivots? Are there any, reconfiguring of what you're doing in the strategy? Because you talk about your message, but is it not landing?
Well, let me say two things about this, Shannon. First of all, the polls tend to radically overstate Democrats. We certainly saw that during the polling of summer of 2020 and summer of 2016. And of course, a lot of those polls were wrong when it came to Election Day. The second thing I'll say, Shannon, is what we have certainly seen is that Kamala Harris got a bit of a sugar high a couple of weeks ago. But what we've actually seen from our own internal data, Shannon, is that Kamala Harris has already leveled off. If you talk to insiders in the Kamala Harris campaign, they're very worried about where they are because the American people just don't buy the idea that Kamala Harris, who has been vice president for 3.5 years, is somehow going to tackle the inflation crisis in a way tomorrow that she hasn't for the past 1,300 days. Giving Kamala Harris control over inflation policy, Shannon, it's like giving Jeffrey Epstein control over human trafficking policy. The American people are much smarter than that. They don't buy the idea that Kamala Harris represents a fresh start. She is more of the same. It is doubling down on the failed policies of the Harris administration to give Kamala Harris a promotion rather than to fire her, which is what I think most Americans are going to do on November.
All right, so JD sounds good. I think he's right. I think that the polls are ebbing and flowing right now, as they always do. But Kamala is just the shiny new object at the moment, and that's not going to last forever because her record speaks for itself. And as things settle down, right, they've done a nice job here shoehorning her in at the very last minute, and they wanted to do that. I think it was by design with the debates and everything to get Joe out. If he did bad, he did. So they just, if this, then that. They just forked it out and gave us a roadmap for some possibilities. They're probably still doing that. But now Kamala just has a short period of time for the American public to get to know her. They're trying to pretend like she hasn't been around at all for the last 4 years. Obviously she has. Trump has a new ad out reminding everybody about this. And here's what that one sounds like.
Kamala Harris was given one important job as vice president: monitor and control our southern border. How did she do? Did she take the job seriously? Did she do all she could to protect American citizens from an invasion? Did she do anything at all?
No!
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Here's her grim scorecard: murders, rapes, attacks on children. A 12-year-old girl in Texas, a mother of 5 in Maryland, a nursing student in Georgia, all savagely murdered by those Biden and Harris led into our country unlawfully.
We have a secure border.
Kamala Harris was and is a complete failure at her job. Now, she's asking us for a promotion? Who in their right mind would give it to her?
All right, it's a good one. So we're going to see a lot more of that, and people should remind themselves or remember that Kamala has been in charge. She's been right there. It's always been Biden, Harris, and they drag her around from room to room. And so she has got some responsibility for this terrible performance that she has created.